Sex at work. So a lot of companies have rules about sex with boss to employee, owner to employee. There's a lot of rules about that in sex. So sex at work is a really bad idea. It happens.
A survey found that more than 1 in 10 Americans have had sex at work.
That's interesting. I think it's an interesting and sort of surprising.
Oh no, I was looking at you
to see
for your personal take on this, having met your husband at work.
And it can happen with no consequences. It can happen with consequences. So it's really kind of a risky area if you care about your job. Nowadays, people don't care about their jobs as much. They just go get another one. And you might want to not talk about it at work. Find ways to avoid it, even if you're a swinger. If you're a swinger especially, try to avoid having conversations about it. You know, don't text on the company phone. Yes, they know what you say. Don't text through the internet. Don't text on your work computer. You know, there was people that got fired in this one company. They went through the text and found out that these two were dating and they were going to fire them. In HR, they asked me, and I said, well, you got to be really careful. But it's a company computer, and they know that it's not private, even though they didn't know it. Deep down, that wasn't private. But the company that dealt with the messages and emails said, hey, they're dating, and they're talking about sex, and that's not a good idea at work. We're a continually conservative country. Yeah, we're almost provincial. We're almost, too conservative. Other countries are happier because they're not so conservative. And you know, there are countries I've dealt with this Irish guy. His mouth was something else, and he would say stuff, and he worked with his girlfriend. They were very successful salesmen. They were never going to get fired because of the money they brought in. But I said, do they really talk? Why do you talk that way? And he said, well, but they do in Ireland. And where he came from in Ireland, they say everything they want to say about sex is part of work. Sex is part of fun. And so I said, wow, okay, now that might be just his excuse. So don't write me about it. Well, you can, but it might be his excuse. But he said that they don't understand why we're so conservative. So sex at work is a bad idea. But what brought this to mind was that this man was talking about his wife having sex with an ex-boss. And that, again, brings the sex part into the working situation where if he need a reference from him, and it goes bad and goes sour. So that has some risk. There was a wife who had sex with a coworker, and his girlfriend wanted to have sex with the husband, and that didn't work out because that wasn't where she was at. But she knew about the coworker, and she didn't tell anybody. So that had no harm to it. So anyway, that's that situation.